Hey, this is Aaron, and this is Samir Samana. He looks like a Wells Fargo international strategist. He's talking about the big power outage in India, and he is basically saying this is a big deal. It's one of the biggest deals that's happened so far in terms of global manufacturing shutdown, in terms of global energy crisis. This is the big one. So here, let's hear him talk.
This is a population that's almost 2x the United States, and they've been without power for the second time within a week now. And it's shut down trains, it's shut down obviously businesses. So this is a pretty big deal. India is a very large contributor to global growth, and so this is going to be it's going to have a massive impact both on consumption and on investor confidence, which had already been shaken by a lot of the data coming out of India so far this year.
All right, that's huge. That's huge. This is not an insignificant moment for everyone in the entire world. This is a big deal for everyone in the entire world. Everybody who sees this has a likelihood of it happening, meaning anything that you're going to see in terms of what power outages do to people, especially in places where power is so critical to life-sustaining water creation, transmission, power transmission to hospitals, infrastructure, of course, electric roads, electric rail systems. We have a huge problem in front of us. What do we do about this? What do we do? So here's my answer. So what we do is we get these guys. These are small solar panels with small batteries. Okay, and this is a smartphone. Okay, these are old. Okay, this is a smartphone from 2000 and I think maybe 5 or 6, maybe 7. Okay, I'm not sure. Actually, no, I'm not sure if this is the first one. Okay, so this guy is a 16 gig. It's got a crack in it. It's an iPhone 3G. I don't even think it's a 3GS. Now that I think about it, I'm not sure. This guy plus solar to at least get India back online. Okay, and of course, focus then, of course, on getting those solar towers up and getting those towers up, solar charging those towers. Wind charging, wave charging, battery charging. Put your resources into rebuilding at least the mobile infrastructure of India and getting them just skyrocketing into the 21st century, just shooting forward, at least in terms of communication and probably in terms of manufacturing and processing, because India should be making their own smartphones. And it looks like in a lot of ways, you're going to get more smartphones no matter what you do anyway. So might as well just front load it and get everybody on the grid. And get everybody on the grid without the power grid being affected. That's what I'm talking about. Something that makes, that charges a phone with an 8-hour sun charge, or maybe even a 6-hour sun charge. It'll charge the entire thing in those 6 hours. That's not hard to do. That's not very expensive. Let's call it $100. For the battery plus the charger, okay? Then $100 for an old or not as giantly powerful or giantly expensive to build phone that is also internet enabled. Then you've got these two systems that anytime you pop on the grid and you fire up the cellular towers and the digital cellular towers and just the phone network, that will enable thousands of people to solve problems immediately and solve their health problems, solve their power problems, solve the what do I do about answering a question that I would use the internet to answer, okay? And you'll have a phone, and it will promote business. It'll promote the move of capital. I mean, a huge amount of capital has to be invested in the country anyway. Why not just start it by saying, hey, here's some stuff, get off the grid a little bit, with some solar power and get on the network to help each other solve problems. Then work out the other details of what to do about infrastructure, and but let them call each other. That's what I wanted when I first heard that the Twin Towers had been hit by planes. I thought, oh, I want to know what my cousin's doing in Manhattan. I want to know if he's alive, if he was in a building, if there's anything wrong. And I couldn't get into the network. I couldn't get into the network because the network was also down. And it was flooded with phone calls, and it was flooded with power problems, and flooded with issues with, giant systems were hurt underneath the Twin Towers when they fell down. This was a huge thing. This is bigger. This is a bigger problem, okay? This is a 680 million person problem, and we had maybe 100 million people were affected, but certainly not by power, just because they were emotionally impacted by this. But there will be thousands of people who die from this. Thousands of people. It's so sad. And I've only seen a couple, reports where they said 52 people have died or whatever. You can't measure how many people are dying in rural India right now. You can't. Because you don't know who's got a defibrillator that's hooked up to a battery. You don't know whose hospital has gone out of power because they're not telling you. And no one has network, very few people have network access to talk about it in the first place. So you don't know how many people are going to be affected by this, at least in terms of immediate effect. And then there's all this ramification of the environment and the how expensive it is to reboot a system that, in and of itself, when you reboot, it will blow a bunch of more things and blow a bunch of, think about how fragile it is even with really good, fuse boxes in your own home, how you can plug 4 things in and you can pop those fuses. What if you don't have spare fuses? What if you have fuses that aren't switch backable? There's so many things about this that we don't know yet, but I know this. If you put everybody who gets back online on a phone, and you let that phone be the thing that just the first thing that they have access to. It's the first thing I want access to anyway. I want my fridge back online. That'd be great, but I can't do that for them. What I can do is buy them a phone and buy them something to power that phone with, period. It's global. It's a global problem we have to solve here, and we got to solve it globally, and I suggest we do it by manufacturing some stuff. It's good old American, know-how, good old American manufacturing can get back into it. We can also just get back in with cash. Let's just reinvest. You want to make an ally out of India? You know what? It's way better than drones in Pakistan. Okay, what are you going to do with a couple $100 million? You could put a couple $100 million into drones, or you could put a couple $100 million directly. You could just add it. The whole country can do it. We have a $7 trillion economy rolling right now. We could put a few $100 million into rebuilding all of India's infrastructure, at least in terms of mobile phones. Let's do it. I think it's something like 150, maybe $200. I'm going on per phone. 50, maybe if you want to go cheap and inexpensive, $50 for solar power and $50 for a mobile phone that's not proprietary or that's not brand new. How many people have a phone sitting around in their house right now that's working and that they don't use very much because it's not their primary phone? Me, I'm so happy to be showing you that I have 2 phones, and if you show me where I can send this phone and I know it's going to get there, great. I don't want to mail the phone as much as I want to mail the cash, okay? I don't want to use the whole system just to add more people driving around and picking up my phone and delivering it. What I want to do is pay cash and get a new phone going for them. You can still use these old phones as well, but let's just keep manufacturing phones, at least in terms of this kind of phone that we have currently, that can be recycled. Make it so that it can be reused again. Make it so that you can pass it down easier. Make it so you can hack inside it and use it to your own benefit. Let's do this all together. This is an 8-minute, now it's going to be a 9-minute video, so I'm sorry about that, but let's solve this problem. Let's solve it together. Let's solve it with our own ingenuity and compassion for the fact these people can't talk to each other. And they can if they have access to a phone and they have power for that phone and they have access to the network. I'm Aaron. Thanks for listening. Promote this if you like it, and give me some comments or video response if you have some constructive criticism. All right, thanks. Oh, by the way, it's July 31st, 2012.